And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Market Recap. Monday, August 1st. I'm John Hoagland. Thanks for trusting me with your time. Well, I hope you had a good trading day today, as we always hope we have a good trading day. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does. Hopefully you're managing your risk. The equities today, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Dow really put forth a valiant effort at closing the day higher today. These are unofficial, but it looks like the NASDAQ closed down 10 points, the S&P down 14 points, and the Dow down 56 points. So we've kind of trimmed a lot of those early losses and really tried to bring price back to normal, back to regular, back to wherever it ended on Friday. We've got some information coming from Black Knight Mortgage. Apparently housing prices they're cooling at a record pace in June, according to, again, Black Knight Mortgage. OPEC stated out today that output increased by 310,000 barrels per day in July. I think that's exacerbating the downside move that was created this morning by Europe, saying they weren't going to sanction insurance on oil takers from Russia. The Speaker of the House is still planning on visiting Taiwan on Tuesday and even spending the night. Despite Chinese threats, hopefully that's going to go as well as can be expected, of course, and we hope for everybody's safety. And the Chinese have really been rattling their sabers about this whole thing. But anyways, prices continue lower after the OPEC announced the July output increases. The E-mini S&P, while values pretty much remained constant in the E-mini S&P, value moved higher in the NASDAQ, even though we didn't necessarily get a higher close. Gold range-bound session, finally we get a settlement above that weekly kickoff inflection level. The euro prices continue to push up into the weekly kickoff highs without being able to penetrate or close above it. Just another test of that level. It's going to be an interesting day when we do break out of that. The 10-year yields continue to sink. It's deepening the yield curve as prices continue to grind higher in that 10-year. And the natural gas gap closes and prices reject lower levels. We're going to see that all on the charts as we go through the recap here. Again, hoping you had an interesting, challenging, and not too challenging, of course, an interesting and challenging trading day. That's part of the game, is we all know how challenging it is. Just getting things a little bit set up here. I got to say good afternoon to everybody. Scott Saw and you Conquered. You are the first one in the room. Tachyon, small loss for the practice account. Had to reset the practice account. Destructive tendencies flared up today. Took a break, reset, traded a bit afterwards. Fresh start, a new start of new iteration. Tachyon, think about where you were in your day when you started to kind of become self-destructive. Was it a level of losses financially? Was it a number of consecutive losses? What put you in that place to where you became self-destructive? It's very important to know where that button gets pushed, where that switch gets flipped, because in the future, you're going to be tempted to go into and get into that self-destructive behavior again. Self-sabotage. Know where it happens and learn to walk away. Learn to walk away. Anytime you become self-destructive or fall into self-sabotage, you know you're in trouble. You know nothing good is going to happen from it. If something good does happen from it, it just, increases the probability of that happening again in the future. Think about where you were in your mind. Where you were in your day? Was it a financial? Was it an amount of money you were down that caused that number of consecutive losing trades? What was it that put you there? When you recognize you're there next time, please walk away. Just put down the mouse and walk away. Or as they said, what was it, the Thunderdome? Just leave the gasoline and walk away. So, yes. Orion, good afternoon. James Swan, good evening to you. Spencer, good to see you. Managed to claw my way out of the hole that I dug my account last week, so that was nice. Good news. Hopefully you did that while following your process. Bill Phillips, good afternoon. Frederico, George, Lacey's right here. She says good afternoon as well. Tony, good afternoon. Did good. Orion, Kyle, good to see you. And Joe, you're back to Ann, but how are you? Dan Trader, hope everyone had a good Monday. Of course, Frederico would be very tight for me. Ed Nelson, good afternoon. If you intended to trade more than one micro at a time. Very tight. Kyle had a rocky red start, took a break, and waited for the setup. Ended up green on the day. Nice job. Nice job, Kyle. And Cedar Options, batteries out of the mouse. That's always a good idea. You can pop that battery out, and by the time you get that battery back in, maybe the trade's going to be gone. And, if things aren't going well, like Cedar says, you just don't want to put yourself in that situation. Recognize the next time and walk away. Or, like Cedar says, take the batteries out of the mouse. Andy, good afternoon. Haggle Matters, good afternoon. We've got, go take a look through the charts a little bit here this afternoon. We've got a very special birthday, my younger brother, and another very special birthday after the charts. Let's go ahead and take a look at crude oil, the daily in crude. Whoops. Here we go. So, we were right at the crux of this convergence of these two trend lines this morning, and we see this market continuing to push lower. I think it failed to close below that weekly kickoff low, 93.60. Let's take a quick look. We've broken out. We looked above on Friday and failed. We've looked below, and we are succeeding to the downside. And that, to me, is always going to be good news when it comes to crude prices. A lot of overnight inventory to the short side. Opening range was huge and left at the high of the session. So all we really did today was decide which way we want to go here. We looked at this as a kind of a high target area, and it became very magnetic. Very magnetic indeed. So we've come down, we've closed this gap, we've checked down to this naked point of control. Now we're just dealing with weekly kickoff high, and it appears as though we did not close below it. So we may still find this supportive tomorrow. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see. Take a look at the E-mini S&Ps now. Overlapping to higher range. You're going to see that value was inside value from Friday in the S&Ps, but not in the NASDAQ. So we're still looking at an auction that is, maybe appearing healthy, but maybe getting a little bit exhausted, maybe getting a little bit tired. We barely looked above last week's high before coming off and kind of centralizing price by the end of the session. Let me bring this over here. Very even bell curve that bodes well for continuation away from this area. Did we need to repair this area from Friday? Yes, we did. Do we need to repair areas below? Yes, we do. Do we know when that's going to happen? No, we don't. So look at where value is. Value high inside Friday's value. Value low inside Friday's value. Market continuing, market's starting to kind of coil itself and build a little bit of energy, where the NASDAQ used some of that energy today. We've got a much higher overlapping to higher range than yesterday. Take a look at the 30. Value and range overlapping to higher Friday's range. This market is actually presenting as a little bit stronger than the S&Ps. And again, we've got just barely closing below settlement. I was really hoping that was going to happen. Oh well, maybe next time. Gold. So we were fascinated with this market this morning, and I was really looking, or at least hoping for a bigger move away from this area. Looking at the 30, we had the market opened rejection below weekly kickoff, looking higher, unable to take out the overnight high, and looking lower, taking not even coming close to the overnight low. A potential value area special situation play because we opened outside of value and range. We rejected it really quickly. We looked down to it, rejected it. We tested higher, back to lower magnetic area here. Again, we're going to see how this plays out for us tomorrow. Certainly be checking your open interest on all of these products, because the secret can be in that open interest. Look at the euro just continuing to just beat up the sellers up here. If those sellers don't give in, we're going to have an awful lot of longs that are going to push this market lower. If these longs wear out the sellers that have been here for 2 to 3 weeks, we are going to have another move to the upside. Now, this is very similar to gold, except we've been unable to really take a good look above that weekly kickoff level. Hardly at all. Let's look at the 10-year. So yeah, prices keep grinding higher in the 10-year. Yields keep sagging lower. That yield curve is getting pretty ugly looking. Now, when you think about a recession is usually one of the first things they look for before they decided they were going to change the rules around recessions. It's 2 quarters of slowing economy. So we have that. Another sign of it is an inverted yield curve. In other words, you're going to get more money with a 1-year note than you are with a 10-year note. It's upside down. It's not right. It's another sign of potential recession. I would go ahead and say we are in one, but the markets aren't showing it. But markets aren't the economy. Take a look at the nat gas. So we had opened with a gap. Gap was closed. We're not going with the gap anymore. We're going the other way from the gap. Here's what it looked like on the 30. This morning, opening up at 8 o'clock, we'd opened with a gap. We'd left the gap. We attempted to push lower. No, we got, I think we had to check this naked point of control, but we didn't find anything down here. Once we closed that gap, that was it. Once we took out the high of the opening, high of the initial balance, it was Katie bar the door. We're going to the other side of value. Value area special situation play, which really did take some time. I want to kind of look through this with you, because the value area special situation play is tricky. It's always tricky. Once we closed inside of value from Friday, we had, a pretty decent push to the upside. We didn't finish it. We come back to value low. Here it is. We get just far enough to stop everybody out a few times, and then finally we show some rejection of lower price. We get another 30-minute bar that closes inside of it. They knocked out all these, they just kept knocking out all these stops, and finally we got our kind of cessation relatively close to a complete value area special situation play. This market is viscous. All right. So, where are we here? Somebody already called it out. It's Jerry's birthday. I got my little Jerry Garcia guy right here. This was actually given to me by somebody at Top Step. Here's my little Jerry dude. I've seen the Grateful Dead 20, 25 times with Jerry. Always a good time. What else in music here today? Where am I? Today's Adam Duritz's birthday from the Counting Crows. Born in 1964, that makes him 58. Joe Elliott, vocals for Led Zeppelin. Born in 1959. I didn't realize he was that old. Robert Cray's birthday is today, born in 1953. As far as world history today, very important day. 1996, Game of Thrones debuts on TV. Trying to keep things positive. Sometimes these things are scary. Alpine 89 was your first Dead show. My brother just sent me some pictures of him and I at a Alpine Valley show. We were trying to remember what year it was, and I think we've settled on 1985. 1985. But I saw him a couple of years before that, I think at Alpine shows. Mostly I'd seen them around the Midwest. I did get to see them once at Red Rocks. And always a good time. Always a good time. There's a link, there's an app, for those of you that don't know, called Re-Listen. Just the way it sounds, RELISTEN. And it's a free app, and it has the shows from 1985 that we believe we were with, and looking at the set list. So here's one of them. You can see here, Re-Listen, 1987, 1987, well, that's one of them. It was 85, 87. It was 87, though, where the pictures were from. But it's got, some of them are off the soundboard. You can see there's 16,084 recordings of Grateful Dead shows. They've got them off the soundboard. They've got them from the middle of the crowd. Just amazing stuff. Lots of other good bands here. Fish. Blues Traveler, Bob Weir. He's got 280 recordings. Charlie Hunter. Just all kinds of mostly jam bands kind of stuff, but it's great because you can just go pick your date, back in 1973 and listen to the Grateful Dead concert, and it's free. It's a free app. Re-listen. So I was probably there with you, Michael, at Alpine in 1989. Whenever they were there, I tried to make sure and get there. The only show that I didn't go see was his last show, which was at Soldier Field in 1995. I did not make that show, and I was very sorry that I missed it. All right. All right, well, let's call this a recap. Looking forward to seeing everybody again tomorrow morning on the market forecast. We'll see what the markets did in the overnight. We'll see what the open interest and volume looks like on some of these markets that may be becoming more directional. And we will see you first thing in the morning, 7:45, same bat time, same bat channel. I'm going to go put on some Jerry. I think I feel like listening to one of his solo albums, maybe the one with the wheel on it. Always good stuff. Trade well, everyone. If you're going to be trading tonight, make sure you keep your powder dry. Be available for tomorrow. As far as tomorrow is concerned, we don't really have anything major as far as economic releases. We got Charles Evans speaking. We have the job opens and labor turnover survey at 9 a.m. Central. But other than that, pretty quiet day. So we'll see what the markets have for us. See you tomorrow morning in the market forecast. Trade well tonight.